Joining me now is Harlan Ullman. He's a political and military analyst and chairman of the Kaloan Group. He's in Washington, D.C. And Sinan Hatahet is a non-resident senior fellow for the Syria project at the Atlantic Council. He's joining us from Damascus. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme. Harlan, I want to come to you first. Lifting sanctions against Syria may not sit well with people in the US administration who have been sceptical about the intentions of Syria's new government. How confident can Syrians be, do you think, that the lifting of sanctions is going to happen as quickly as they might hope?
They can't be. But look, make no mistake, after being badly battered at home in the United States with tariffs, stock markets and everything else, Donald Trump's visit so far to the Gulf has been a tour de force, significant PR victory so far. But there are some issues at stake. Can he deliver on all these issues? What's going to happen in Israel and Gaza, in which the Gazans seem to be to the point of exhaustion? What's going to happen with Iran? And certainly what's going to happen in NATO and Europe, because now if the American attention shifts to the Gulf, does that mean NATO is going to be less important? So the PR has been great. Follow-up is going to be the issue. And if Trump can keep so many balls in the air at the same time, good for him. But it's going to be difficult matching expectations with reality.
Sinan Hatahet, if the sanctions are lifted to the extent that Donald Trump says that they are going to be lifted, how does that affect, do you think, the willingness of Syria's new government to follow through with the promises it's made about the changes it wants to make to the country?
Well, I think that even with the promise to cease all sanctions, there is going to be a rollout program, because there is a lot of de-risking, de-sanctioning that needs to happen at the same time. In addition, also to build compliance, whether in the finance sector or in other governance part of the government. So I think there will be a lot of tit for tat. There will be a lot of conditional progress that will be closely monitoring how the local national government will be dealing with international demands and requests for compliance, at least, if not more, even in political as well as security aspects.
Harlan, I've just been reading that there has been speculation that if the sanctions hadn't been lifted, then Syria would have turned to China, possibly Russia, other countries for sources of income. And how much do you think that of a consideration do you think that might have been in the decision to lift the US sanctions?
I don't think at all. I think that what Trump is trying to do, and following on to his ability as a great negotiator, is to befriend everybody. Everybody is his best friend. And I think that lifting sanctions will not deal with all the problems in Syria, which need to be rebuilt socially, economically, and politically. And quite frankly, if Russia and China want to join in, it seems to me that's probably not a bad idea, because Syria, if it is to be rebuilt, is going to require a lot more than just sanction relief, and a lot more than we are providing from the United States.
Sinan, I want to ask about the position of Israel in this, because Israel, of course, taking military action in parts of Syria against what it calls armed groups which they regards as a threat to Israel. How do you think Israel is going to react to the announcement that the sanctions are going to be lifted?
Well, Israel definitely wasn't happy by the decision made by Donald Trump yesterday. I think that undermined their position and also make their presence in Syria a bit more tricky. Now, that doesn't mean that Israel will retreat anytime soon. I believe that they have taken military assets that are extremely important, with the territory that they captured in Harmon Mount, give them an overview of Damascus and large part of Syria, which will help them detect any future drone attacks and enhance their radar capacity. So I don't think that we'll witness any change in that direction. Now, I believe it will push, however, for more concessions coming from Damascus in terms of military presence in southern Damascus, which has been clearly a request formulated in the last few weeks. And it would be interesting, however, to see how they will react in terms of the relationship with the Druze community. Will they tune down a little bit their direct support for what it seems for a lot of Syrians as a secession movement, or will they push them to negotiate a better deal to be integrated with the rest of the Syrian state and the security sector.
Harlan, in terms of the military element of this, Donald Trump has said that Syria would have to recognise Israel as part of those sanctions being lifted. In your estimation, given what has been happening in Syria and the military action we've seen by Israel, do you think that that is likely?
It's possible. Look, in many ways, Israel is the loser so far. At some stage, what Israel is doing in Gaza is going to redound in America, be very, very negative. And if Trump is really serious about negotiations with Iran, and make no mistake, Netanyahu believes that the only solution is 2,000-pound bombs to prevent Iran from carrying nuclear weapons, Israel may be on the defensive in a big way. Now, whether Syria will recognize it or not, Saudi Arabia and the Abraham Accord are sort of de facto. We know in 1973, Egypt and Jordan recognized America. So nothing is beyond the possibility. However, expectations are hard. And while Clausewitz talked about the fog of war, here's the fog of peace. These are very, very delicate. Negotiations between Israel and Gaza broke down. Negotiations over Ukraine seem to be breaking down. So we'll see. But the possibility is very, very real. Is it going to be realized or not? I don't know. But I hope that there's certainly a glimmer of hope. But it may not be more than that.
So, a final question to you. In the event that the sanctions are lifted, again, to the extent that Donald Trump seems to want them to be lifted, what's that going to mean for the people of Syria?
Well, that means foreign investment mainly, because there is a great need for Syria to get funds from regional economic powerhouses, mainly Saudi Arabia and second degree Qatar and the UAE. That means that we witness reconstruction projects, especially in infrastructure, electricity, and also communication, which are all very important for relaunching the Syrian production capacity, which will have an impact on livelihoods of the Syrian people.
Sinan Hatahet and Harlan Oldman, we appreciate you being with us and giving us the breakdown on that. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen.